So since we knew that we couldn't really tell much about our males or females and our gender distribution, or really our belief in males, we saw it was 1 in 5 as a minimum maximum and an average. So what does that mean too? So because we did descriptive statistics, and while this whole lecture is all about descriptive statistics, we saw that the ones that we were able to choose from were more measures of central tendency, dispersion, and distribution. So if you wanted to know more about the different groups and categories and the counts for them, this is where we want to create frequency tables. So this is how we create frequency tables. We go through Analyze again, Descriptive Statistics again, but instead of choosing descriptives, we want to choose frequencies. And so when we click on frequencies, we get this box. It looks similar and just like the descriptives box, but we have a few other different options. Again, we have the exact same variables, and SPSS will always list all of your variables in this left box. It's your job to choose which variables you want SPSS to analyze by selecting them and then clicking on this arrow to move it under your variables box, this right box. So once you've chosen whatever variables you want SPSS to run and analyze in terms of your frequency tables, it'll produce a frequency table for each of the variables that you select. You move it over, but before you create the table and you click on OK, make sure that this box is checked because you want SPSS to display the frequency tables. That's why we're choosing frequencies. And then move your variables over and click on Statistics. Once we have our statistics, this is the window box that pops up. Now we have similar options. We have measures of central tendency, just like we had before, but we only had the mean last time, remember? Now we can do the median, the mode, and the sum. We can also do percentile values. Hey, look at that. We have quartiles, cutoff points for equal groups. Don't worry about that. We have percentiles. So if we wanted to know first quartile, third quartile, or the 25th percentile, 75th percentile, we can have SPSS create this by going through the frequencies route. We have the same measures of dispersion, and we have our distribution measures. So note what we can and cannot do in frequencies, something a little bit more than what we could do in the descriptives. Once you selected the statistics that you want SPSS to produce in addition to your frequency tables, click on Continue. But before you click on OK to actually produce your tables and produce your statistics, click on Charts. This is one way that we can then create what types of charts we want for the variables that were selected. So we have the choice of either doing no charts, but since we clicked on it, we want to choose something, so we have bar charts, pie charts, and we can choose histograms. And we can either choose to show a curve on a histogram, which you don't have to worry about, but you can choose to put that on there if you choose to create a histogram. And then we can also include frequencies or percentages. And I encourage you that anytime you create a bar or pie chart to include the frequencies or the percentages. Once you selected what type of chart you want, click on Continue. And then you have your table. If you already have an output window open, this frequency table will appear at the bottom of that window. And that's why it's nice to use your navigation, because if you run so many different analyses, they'll just keep adding and adding and adding to your output window instead of opening up window after window after window. Just have everything sequentially showing up there. And you can choose to delete someone, or delete some of them, or just keep them all there and just condense them by using navigation. So here's an example of a frequency table. And again, we've seen these and we know how to interpret these, and we know how to read them. and actually know how to create them, right? Starting from back in quiz 1. So, since we know how to do that, what's the mode? Looking at the variable working mom preschool child suffers. Do you agree that your preschool child suffers because you work? What would be the mode among this sample of 1,025 women? Agree with 367 of those 1,025, which makes up 35.9% of the valid sample, or 35.8% of the entire sample. What about the median? Do you remember how to find the median here? Looking for the 50th percentile, and we see that neither agree nor disagree contains the 50th percentile. So now we know how to create frequency tables. Since we selected a histogram, we know how to read histograms too. Chapter 4. So the frequency table will be in the output along with the graph. If I ever ask for a graph, all I want you to include is the graph itself. Don't give me any of the statistics that it gives along with it. Just include the graph. So looking at this histogram of the number of older siblings one has, 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4, what would be the mode? 0. So again, notice that each histogram gives you the mean, the standard deviation, as well as the sample size. And we only create histograms for ungrouped interval ratio variables, only for scale variables. Okay, so don't forget that once you've analyzed and created all of your outputs, you need to copy and paste those output tables or graphs into your assignments. So you'll be doing these procedures for in-class exercises as well as for homework 3 and for your final project. So just in case, you can use, so if you're the type that likes to use keyboard shortcuts, just a reminder, here are the ways to copy and paste. Or you can always right-click on a graph or a table and choose to copy the image or copy the table or graph and then paste that into your Word document. And that Word document is what you will then submit, unless I ask specifically for your SPSS data file or output file. Alright, so great job. We've covered a lot in terms of introducing a brand new statistical program to you, laying out how to look at it in terms of the data view and the variable view, and then really how we run through analyze, descriptives, and we choose either frequencies to give us our frequency tables and give us graphs, or looking at descriptives to give us more of a descriptive statistics. And again, hopefully this is something you kind of enjoy doing, and after working through the in-class exercises, which I'll introduce to you in just a moment, that you should include this in your resume. Because after you pass this class and you have a good working knowledge at SPSS, I encourage you to work with a faculty member before you graduate to see if you can work on some research with them so you can get a hands-on experience working with some data, or when you do your internship, that you can maybe have a chance to work on some data, that you can really include this on your resume and use this as a valuable skill when you're looking for a job. So this whole lecture, again, is all working with descriptive statistics, creating frequency tables and reporting measures of dispersion, variability, central tendency, distribution, and creating graphs, all descriptive statistics. We'll have another lecture in the coming weeks where we learn about how do we use SPSS to run analyses to test our hypotheses.